Today we are talking about new spring makeup launches. So I'm going to be giving you guys reviews of a bunch of products. I am applying a bunch of products on my face today. Others, I needed to get this review out to you guys because I think that you should save your money and definitely not buy them. I essentially have a full face of new makeup launches that I am reviewing for you guys. And I also wanted to talk about some new launches that I am interested in that I might want to pick up myself. Just a ton of new makeup to talk about and debrief about, so I hope you guys enjoy it, and let us begin. Everyone and their mother has been talking about the Hydro Grip Gel Tint from Milk Makeup, so I wanted to give you guys my 2 cents as someone with more dry skin. I have been giving it a go, and something that I find particularly interesting about this skin tint is folks are kind of like putting it on and immediately being like, oh my gosh, it's so glowy, it's so fresh looking, but this is not a really glowy, fresh product necessarily. It has a reflection to it, but almost think of it the way that you think of their Hydro Gel Primer. If that product did not work for you, this is not going to work for you. It is very sticky, and that is actually good, I think, for more like combination skin. And a little bit of tack is always nice, but the issue is when you have a pigment product that is really sticky and it's not like a translucent kind of gel primer, it is going to stick to everything. So kind of looks a little patchy on dry spots. I find that I have to kind of do this, I really have to press it in, and it takes a really long time for me to get like my desired effect. Let me zoom you guys in a little bit. So I'm still blending. With most of my other favorite foundations, I would be done blending by now. And from far away, it looks to have like this really pretty kind of like glow to it, and I think that that is like something like this is going to look really good in like a selfie or in just like front facing camera phone footage, but you guys know I bring you the 4K. I don't know about that. I feel like that could look better. Like that line could look a lot better. And here, I feel like I can see a lot of dryness. I think at the end of the day, this is not going to be your favorite if you have dry skin. If you have more combination skin, or if you are a fan in general of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, I think that there's a chance that you'll like this. And while I'm putting on a little bit of concealer, let's talk about some new launches that have kind of been piquing my interest. One launch that I am absolutely so excited about are these new liquid shadows from Urban Decay. So they have some crayons that they're releasing, but they also have these really sparkly liquid shadows. Now, sparkly liquid shadows are very hard to do, but Urban Decay does sparkly wet shadows really well. So what I'm hoping for is a long wear liquid moon dust kind of shadow. They actually do even have the shade Space Cowboy in this new line. So it does make me hopeful that this is going to be a really pretty launch. I might go see that liquid shadow in person before I buy it. If it looks really pretty in person, I'll probably go online when the Sephora savings event happens and then get that 20% off. There are definitely a lot of new releases that I'm kind of peeking around at for the Sephora savings event, which I do have my recommendations video on my wish list coming soon, but this could be a product that I do end up picking up at that time. New launch from Ciele, the Glow and Protect Liquid Highlights. I'm such a huge Ciele fan. I like to kind of put this on before I do any of my blush or bronzer because it gives me this really like glowing effect. It almost helps kind of illuminate my skin, and I really love putting it like just directly on my foundation before anything. It almost acts as like a Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. Like, do you see that? My skin, like, I wasn't really liking the way my skin looked before. By the way, this is the shade Penny. It's kind of like a very light, kind of beige pink highlight. I'm really using a lot of fingers today. I just feel like fingers really get the job done just as well as brushes sometimes. Do you see this like natural kind of radiance that it emits onto the skin? I wanted to make sure that I gave a review of these for you guys. So they are SPF 50. They are liquid highlights, as you can see. What I think makes them different is that they are mineral based, have like a base pigment to them because of like the titanium dioxide, I believe it is, or the zinc oxide. So they almost, again, they almost give you that kind of Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter effect, because remember that product from Charlotte Tilbury has a little base pigment to it, but this is like the slightly amplified version of the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, and I prefer this. Like, it sets down in a similar way to that, and it just gives you this ultra gorgeous reflection, and the shades are absolutely beautiful. So I also have this shade Church, and I'll put it right next to Penny so that you guys can get an idea. This is more of like a really beaming kind of yellow gold highlight, and with this you get an even more intense kind of highlight, but again, there's no sparkle to it whatsoever. It's really unique. It's very, very different. Really just not a lot of highlights like this on the market. I have to say, I think Penny is my favorite shade because it kind of just melts in with my skin tone. If you're very, very fair, I think Church is absolutely beautiful. They blend so prettily on the skin. I just feel like Ciele absolutely kills it. I mean, you will be hearing about like their bronzing drops. Oh my gosh, I did not screw that on tight enough. I mean, you've already heard me talk about this, but their cream bronzer, their stick bronzer is really nice. It's a little bit more sheer, but they just do really, really good products. So I'm sure you'll hear more about a lot of my recent favorites from them in my upcoming Sephora savings event video. But speaking of Sephora, shall we also talk about how Sephora is releasing like a bunch of new Sephora collection products? I already picked up their liquid blush called the Blush and Glow. I picked up like kind of the terracotta shade, so I'll be able to try that out for you guys. We have a good liquid blush on our hands during the Sephora savings event. Everything's like 30% off of the Sephora collection, so I don't know, we're looking at like maybe, I'm gonna guess like a $7 good liquid blush, so I'm excited about that. We also have like kind of a dupe product, I think, of potentially the one size blushes, so I picked up a shade of that as well. We also have some like color changing gel stick blushes. They are also in like these kind of like primary colors, but I think they're like color changing. They seem interesting, but I decided that probably not interesting enough for me. And then they also have their glaze blushes, which are like really like highlight mixed with blush like kind of products, which are not usually my favorite, so I decided to skip on those as well. But another product that I'm seeing on Trend Mood, Fleur sent it to me. Actually, Fleur sent me also their Vanilla Smoke and Father Figure deodorant that just launched. I also believe they came out with their Vanilla Skin deodorant, so I wanted to give you guys some quick reviews on these ahead of the savings event. Oh my gosh, I have never in my life loved a deodorant as much as I have loved this one. One, I absolutely love the fragrance Father Figure from Fleur. It's definitely in like top 5 ever, if not top 3. So it says the notes are, the base is skin musk, vanilla, patchouli, and sandalwood. The heart is iris root, jasmine dew, and the top is water lily, fig, and cassis buds. This is essentially the most beautiful fig musky kind of scent. It has a lot of warmth to it, and it does have that slight touch of like a masculine edge, but in like the most lush kind of way. There's a juiciness, maybe not even a juiciness. The fig is really rounded out by a lot of the musk, but that kind of vanilla base keeps it really gender neutral. It is definitely not like decidedly masculine or decidedly feminine, but I love the skin musk note of it all. I love it. I wear that fragrance all the time. I have the full size, but now that they have a deodorant, this is literally the only deodorant I wear now. And it is a deodorant. It's not an antiperspirant, obviously like aluminum free, just a basic kind of everyday deodorant. And I love the way it warms up too. So on the skin, I love it. They also have Vanilla Smoke, which is my second favorite of the products that they sent me. Vanilla Smoke, this is very, very similar to Maison Margiela by the Fireplace. If you're a fan of that, you will be a fan of this, and this is also less money. So it's slightly lighter. Not really much of a difference between the two. If anything, this might be very slightly sweeter. I might get like, yeah, this says it has pink pepper. I don't really get pink pepper from By the Fireplace, but it's delightful. I also like that it is more affordable and it still has that really sophisticated vanilla smoky richness. It's delightful. Definitely more of like a night scent though, very sexy. And then finally we have Rose Whip. So Rose Whip, I'm not surprised that it is my least favorite because I'm just not a huge rose person. It's nice, but again, I really like the base notes of this. What are these base notes? Yeah, the base is amber, cashmere wood, and musk. So these are the kind of base notes that I typically really, really like out of my fragrance. The heart is rose, nutmeg, and osmanthus. No, osmanthus. I actually don't know what that is. And then the top is pink pepper and black currant. I think it's not overwhelmingly floral, but it's just floral enough that it's not my favorite. However, if you are a rose person and you want like a warmer rose, this is really good for this time of the year for someone that does want that. But again, for me, it just wasn't my absolute favorite. Shall I apply some of this Westman Atelier Sun Tone Bronzing Drop for you guys? I have been testing this out and this is a winner in my opinion. So this is the shade number 1. You kind of have to work a little bit fast with this one. It does kind of dry down on the skin. But what I love about it is how thin it is on your skin. If you love really thin, buildable layers of bronze where like you can't really see where the bronze starts and stops, this is really, really lovely. It lasts well on the skin, and I just feel like, you know, that kind of like beach makeup that you just want your skin to sing. I think some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. When you're like at the beach all day, you're getting ready to go to dinner, and you want to put on makeup that is like really light and airy but glowy. This is the bronzer that I see. This is the liquid bronzer that is really thin on the skin. It has a gorgeous glow, but then, you know, you can kind of see it there. You see how it almost is like, almost like a stain? It's like a liquid bronzer stain, but there is a touch more base pigment than like a gel bronzer, but it is just, it's really, really delightful. I love how it's just kind of, once you apply it on and you blend it, it becomes pretty untraceable, which I think is a really big selling point of a bronzer like this. And I think it's a big selling point for a lot of people that want a very, very natural bronze. If you're someone that really doesn't want a heavy bronzed effect, I think that you will be just a huge, huge fan of this. It is expensive. I do really, really love that I bought it. And I think that as far as like bronzing products that I've tried this year, this has definitely been a standout in the formulation and the texture and in the actual performance. So I really think they did a really incredible job. So one product that I really want to try are the new BioRadiant Glassy Highlighter Balms from Haus Labs. You guys know how much I love like my Chanel Essential Balm. I love the dupe of it, which is my K-Beauty Hints highlighter balm. Really, really enjoy that balminess. This could potentially be a product that I really enjoy for this time of year. So I'm really interested in trying out that one personally. Also interested in this new Fleur Glossier fragrance. I at least want to smell it in person. Again, I'm really picky when it comes to floral fragrances, but you know, I do still have hope for this one because the base note is ambrox, which is one of my favorite base notes, period. So I mean, we're just gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see on that one. I do still have high hopes for it. I do really love Glossier U. I actually went in store and smelt this, so I'm gonna give you guys a very, very quick rundown. Also, it's in the morning. I'm still in my robe. We're all gonna be nice to me. So it is beautiful. It is really, really lovely. I didn't buy it because I'm not gonna buy it if it's like, you know, I got 20% coming to me pretty soon at the Sephora savings event, but it is so airy. It's like floral, skin floral. But I think if you're a floral lover, it is going to be a must-have. But if you are someone that typically doesn't like florals, you like something that like sits very close to the skin and it feels very, you happen to be smelling floral rather than you are wearing a floral fragrance, which I think is really hard to do. Truly, this is pretty artful. The way it smells is very artful. I can't even really put it into words. I think if you are a fan of like a whimsical, you happen to be smelling floral, springy, it's just absolutely beautiful. I highly, highly recommend going and smelling this one. I think it is by far the most interesting fragrance that Glossier's come out with since the OGU, in my opinion. Actually, now that I think about it, I didn't put on fragrance today, so I'm gonna go ahead and put on some vanilla smoke. Oh, so good. So let's do one cheek of each. So I've been trying out these two new powder blushes, one from Saie, one from Tower 28. This is the shade Culver Crush. This is the one I've been trying out the most, but I just found before this video started this shade Samo Spritzer. And ironically, I feel like this shade is kind of this really beautiful, like muted shade that in this kind of formula, I think I might actually like even more. So I wanted to try on this shade for you guys today. And then I wanted to compare it to the shade Mia because these are kind of like similar-ish tones. And then we'll talk about the two formulas. Let's first start off with the Tower 28. So this is a matte blurring blush. Before we get any further, I just need some lip balm. This is the one from Clinique. You will definitely be hearing about this in my Sephora savings event recommendations because it's literally the best lip balm that's ever existed. Oh my gosh, I do not know why I did not start the video with that on. My lips like absolutely needed that. Okay, but back to Get Set blush. So again, Samo Spritzer going on this cheek. I want you guys to kind of watch what happens when you put this on. You see how it has this really kind of mattifying, blurring, finishing powder kind of thing? If you are into really blurring matte blushes, this is going to be a favorite. Yeah, you know what? I really, really like this shade. The shade is very, very pretty. I mean, look at that versus, you know, that glow versus that. It does have like a blurring kind of effect on the skin, but I want to show you guys this one from Saie. So this is the Super Suede Radiant blush. Again, you know, I'll be honest, I'm not like a huge radiant blush fan. Like, I don't want sparkle. I want like a true radiance. So it's kind of hard to tell what you're gonna get when you put on a blush like this and like what you're gonna get from a formula like this, I've found. For me, personally, this feels more skin-like to me. It melts better on my skin. And this is the issue sometimes with like a mattifying blush, how like, you see how you can kind of see, like you really see it here. Whereas this kind of meshes and melds into all the other color here. This almost feels a bit stark. So it might just be one of those blushes that you take like a really big fluffy brush and kind of like sweep it over like both cheeks and on the nose. I do think that it could be a nice option for someone that doesn't like to use a lot of powder and kind of wants to use this to set the face a little bit, or even if you have like more oily skin, obviously. I think that the Saie blushes, these new like powder baked blushes, are really, really lovely. And actually, I'll be honest, like a lot of the baked blushes that everyone loves, like, I'm sorry, I know I'm gonna make someone mad with this, but like Milani Luminoso, some of like the Essence baked blushes, some of these are nice. This is the first baked blush I've used in a long time where I've been like, I'm gonna reach for that again because it feels really easy. Something about it, my skin really likes it, the way it kind of just melts in. So those are the blushes. I think on a more of an everyday basis, I'll probably be reaching for the Saie more, but I think for a very polished look, I'll probably reach more for the Tower 28. But I gotta tell you guys up close, maybe I'll zoom you guys in a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see it, just this milk skin tint, not cutting it. I really wanted to make sure that I let you guys know what I thought of that before someone with more dry skin or texture, or even if you have fine lines, wrinkles, stay far away. Let's use a bit of Kosas. This is their new powder, their loose powder that they came out with. I have already been testing this. If you really want to get a flawlessness to your makeup, I think this will get you there. I'll put on a little bit for you guys. I do really like their powder puff. And I mean, you see that blur? It really packs a blur. But I just notice it a little bit too much. It's just more of a makeup-y kind of powder. I think for more, again, more of a look, like if you are someone that really wants a perfected look on your skin, I think that you will really be a fan of this actually, because it has a great blur to it. I think for like photography, it could be really nice, but for everyday, I'll be going to the pressed version. But I think, again, if I really want to lock the makeup in, if I really want a lot of blur, this is probably what I'm going to reach for. So I think for more of like a look, or for photography, combo oily skin, probably this is going to work a little bit better for you. But if you have more normal to dry skin for like an everyday basis, I would stick with the original pressed powder. That's just my opinion. But by the way, this is the candy shade. By the way, I am gonna probably mention this in my Sephora savings event video. I'm a big fan of this Glow Recipe Dewy Flush. This is the Watermelon Flush. I did already try this in a recent video, so I'm going to leave that link down below in case you want to see it in action, but it's a really nice kind of translucent gel kind of formula. Very pretty. I think there are some of you that would be a big fan of that. All right, but while I do my eyebrows, shall we talk about some other new launches that have recently been coming out? So Michaela, the famous TikToker, oh my god, why did that make me sound so old saying that? So Michaela, the very, very famous beauty TikToker, she recently came out with her brand POV Beauty. And essentially, it's an entire line of skin prep products that are perfectly designed to prep your skin for makeup. I would not be surprised if we see more brands doing this. We've already seen it with Rhode. This was pretty much the exact angle that Rhode took when they came out with their line. I would not be surprised if we continue to see other brands come out with products like this, you know, a la Ilia Face-Based Milk. These kind of skincare, skin prep hybrid products is something that I subscribe to. Like, I do really think that skincare and makeup are more like this than people talk about. They're not really two separate things. So I don't think I'll pick it up, but I do think it is interesting to talk about. Another product that I am really interested in are these new Lifter Glaze lip balms from Maybelline. Now, these are definitely giving like Dior Addict lip balm to me, like that kind of dupe, which I feel like brands are not coming out with these stick balms as much recently. They're definitely more in like the liquid lip balm, glossy balm kind of thing. So I really want to see what these are about. I'll probably pick one up. And if there's any other drugstore launches that you guys want me to try as far as new makeup goes, please leave me a comment down below because I definitely want to do a new drugstore video upcoming. Other products that I'm kind of interested in. So speaking of lip products, Bosma recently came out with like liquid lip balm, glossy balms. They look incredibly juicy and enveloping. So I think that's probably going to be something that I pick up during the Sephora savings event. It's just one that is very appealing to me. I have had really a lot of luck with Bosma. Another lip product is the new LYS Stick Glossy Balms. That applicator looks really not functional to me. So I don't know necessarily about that, but the formula looks really beautiful. So that's gonna have to be something that I think I either swatch in person or you guys just let me know if you want me to try it. So recently RMS came out with their cashmere matte highlights. I've been trying out a few different shades, but I haven't given this shade a go. These are very newly released. This is the shade Canyon Clay. And I think what I'm gonna do is just do like a one and done kind of shadow look with this and just blend it with my finger and see if this can be that product. You know, that really easy, take it on the lid, swipe it. I feel like a finger is actually kind of underrated. This shade maybe, you know, not as pigmented as I actually thought it was going to be, but really pretty. I have a feeling for oily eyelids, there are some of you that would be really, really happy with this formula. Also, I like that they changed the packaging. This gives you more control than the larger squeeze tubes did with the classic RMS highlights. Let's put some more of this on. This is really, if you guys have an autumn color palette, I think I do. I've never had that professionally done, but I'm pretty sure I'm some sort of autumn. And this, I feel like, is a really perfect one and done for the autumn palette. It is a formula that goes a touch tacky when it dries down, which is not like my favorite thing, but I do really like that it's buildable. It's clearly building. Get some richness with it. I think like this layer, I put the product directly on the eye rather than on the back of my hand and then onto the eye. And I think that is how I've gotten the most pigment. But it does look like it's blending. But then when I blend it, it kind of blends away more than I would like. This is like notoriously one of the hardest formulas, in my opinion, to formulate. So it's giving me a little bit of trouble, but I think I still need to just play around with them a little bit more. By the way, I did use like one of the denser brushes before, and I found that I think I prefer a finger to that. Yeah, this is kind of clung to a little bit to a dry spot on my lids. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Yeah, I'm not completely sold on those yet, but I really gotta friggin' hurry up because the sun is setting. You know what? With some mascara, I feel like I can kind of pull it off. It's not like the best blend I've ever seen in my life, but I feel like I need to work with it a little bit more, but I'm gonna say jury's still out on whether or not I like that formula. To kind of round out the video with a bang, I realized one, that I forgot to try out the new Ciele SPF 30 primer. I'm gonna have to try this out and get back to you guys. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Ciele in general. And can I just show you guys the packaging? It's gorgeous. I love this color. If you're a long-time viewer of my channel, you know me and this color. We go way back. I have a feeling this is going to be similar to like the Dream Beam from Kosas. Actually, less pigment than that. And it is just like a really glowy tinted sunscreen. Like it has that kind of titanium dioxide, zinc oxide smell. Is this titanium dioxide? Yeah, no, this is not titanium dioxide. It's just zinc oxide. Kind of surprised at how translucent that is for that kind of product. So But to go out with a bang, we gotta try these new Merit Signature Lip Liners. This is a new launch. A lot of folks have been talking about it, but I still have yet to try them. So I wanted to give you guys at least my first impressions on what I think about this formula. Now, I've heard that this is more of like a gel, blurry kind of texture, which I've really been into. And I have the shade Mayfair and Sportif. So here's the shade Sportif. And then I have the shade Mayfair. Actually, these have kind of like a glossiness to them. And then that's the shade Mayfair. I think I'm going to go with Sportif. I think that goes a little bit better with the look we have. I do still have some balm on. God, that color is beautiful. That did cling a little bit to those dry patches, but honestly, with how dry it is, I can't really ask a lip liner to completely not. Very pretty. I really, really like that shade. But they also came out with their new Shade Slick Sheens. So they have these new shades. I think I'm gonna go with Biarritz. I think this goes a little bit better with what I have going on. Yeah, there is a bit of shimmer to them. So I think they just kind of took their classic Shade Slick formula, like their liquid lips, and then did a little bit of a glossiness and a slight bit of glitter in there. You can't really see it though. Huh. This doesn't have like that pH adjusting thing that some of their jellies have. Really gorgeous shade. It is thinner and a little bit more oily than I typically like, but I already knew that about the Shade Slicks. The combo is very pretty though. I think I'm more impressed by the liner. However, this does give like a really nice plushness to dry lips. I will say that. All right, everyone. So those are some new beauty reviews, upcoming beauty launches I might be trying. Definitely leave me a comment down below if you guys have specific items that you want me to try or pick up, especially going into the Sephora savings event. But speaking of Sephora savings event, make sure you're subscribed for that upcoming video because I'm probably going to be posting my recommendations like the day of. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But overall, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you guys in my next one.